Hey there everybody, my name is David Magone and I'm here to lead you through a PranaVayu sequence that will help you burn some calories, trim and tone, and clear out your mind a little bit. Now if you have a yoga mat at home, you want to lay it out on the floor. If you want to make it all fancy, then you can lay your mat out in a crisscross pattern like I have here. Otherwise, when we hop the feet off to the side of the mat, you can feel free to jump your feet out on the floor. For now though, we'll start by setting good intention. So begin with your feet together near the front of your mat, then join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Take a moment to close your eyes and think of someone that you would like to dedicate your practice to today. For the next few moments, mentally send a little bit of good energy to them. Just imagine all of your love, all of your kindness moving from your heart to theirs in a beautiful streamer of light. As you imagine that light mentally touching that person's heart, imagine they could receive healing energy or anything that they need to be peaceful and happy. And to begin, open your eyes. Take an inhale to sweep your arms outward to the sides and up. Interlace your hands at the top and point your index finger toward the ceiling. Tuck your ribs down in the front, pull your belly muscles upward and in, then lengthening up as tall as you possibly can. Tilt your torso to your left and look down at the floor underneath your left armpit. Now while you side bend, draw your left hip up very slightly to keep the top of your pelvis level. Roll your chest open to your right slightly to isolate all the muscles in your side body. Then use your left arm to pull the right side of the body long till you feel stretch extending everywhere from the side of the right waist all the way up to your right armpit, out to the fingertips themselves. Take an inhale to come back up. Draw your belly muscles upward and inward, and then switch all the way over to the second side. Look down at the floor underneath your right armpit, and draw your right sitting bone upward very, very slightly to keep the top of your pelvis level, like a teacup. Ground through your left foot so it doesn't feel like you're going to tip over on your head. Use your right arm to pull the left side of the body long, and stretch everything from the side of the left hip outward through your fingertips. Then connect to your breath. Take an inhale to come all the way back up. Forward fold with your next exhale, and take both of your hands down to the floor. If you need to, you can bend your knees very slightly. If you want to deepen things substantially, place your palms on the earth. Shake your head yes a couple of times to loosen up the back of your neck, and breathe deeply. Now to fire up some body heat, bend your knees substantially. Take an inhale to sweep both arms up to the ceiling, straight upward overhead. Join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Twist to the right side and cross your left elbow all the way over your leg. Once you've done that, slide your wrists back until your wrists align with your elbows. Pull your belly muscles all the way inward and upward. Then use your exhales to twist your torso open to your left side. To make sure you're doing all the twisting in your back muscles, look straight down at the floor while you spin. With your legs still bent, take an inhale to sweep both arms straight upward overhead. Join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Twist to your right side and cross your elbow over your leg. Now as you gaze straight down at the floor, slide your wrists back slightly until your wrists align with your elbows. Pull your belly muscles inward and upward. As you press your hands together, spin your chest open to the right-hand side of the mat. Now though it's possible to look up at the ceiling, this time look straight down at the floor so that you're sure you're doing the twisting with your back rather than just the neck. Sweep both arms to the ceiling with your next inhale. Stand up tall with your exhale. And place your hands on your lower back. Heel toe your feet apart roughly hip distance wide. Then lengthen out your lower back by rolling your tail under slightly. Draw both elbows backward and together to broaden your chest. Drive down through your feet. Use your thumbs to press your waistline forward. Then create a back bend by lifting upward out of the sides of the waist. Let your heart rise to the top of the room and curl your chin back to stretch the muscles of your throat. Use an inhale to come back up. Forward fold with your exhale. And take your hands all the way back down to the floor. This time use an inhale to lift to your fingertips. Move to the high push-up position and pause. And with your next exhale, lower all the way down to the floor. Once you've made it to the earth, place the tops of your feet on the ground. Use your back muscles to lift your chest off of the floor, and then elevate your hands. Place your hands back on the mat, curl your toes under behind you. Press yourself all the way back to the downward facing dog, a pyramid-like shape on your mat. Once you've gotten there, pedal your legs as though you're riding a bicycle. And as you bend one and straighten the other leg, rotate your torso side to side so you can loosen up your back muscles also. Every time you pedal your legs in position, press the heel of the straight leg closer to the floor to get a little bit more stretch in your calf muscles and the backs of the legs also. Now come all the way back through center. Lift your armpits away from the floor. Let your shoulder blades slide away from the ears till your neck gets nice and long. And stretch all the way out through your palms without sinking into the armpits themselves. And slowly take your knees to the floor. Let your hips settle all the way back to your heels. And rest your head on the floor for the child's pose. For the next few moments, just pretend you could unscrew the top of your head like a pickle jar lid. And let your thoughts pour out as you get really, really still. Now from this point on, we're going to step it up a little bit. Remember, if you ever need to take a break, you can always come back down to rest in the child's pose and build up to the rest of the postures with practice. For now, take a look forward at your hands and roll through your arms to an upward facing dog. Lift your hips back upward to the downward facing dog. Now to tone your thighs, take a look forward at your thumbs. Either step or hop to the hands themselves. Lift all the way up to your fingertips with an inhale. And slowly forward fold with an exhale. Fingertips or palms to the mat. Bend both of your knees. Sweep your arms to the ceiling with an inhale. And with your knees slightly bent, lock your eyes on one single spot on the mat. Slide your leg bones backward into their sockets a little bit till your sitting bones roll back very slightly. Bend your knees just a little bit further and drop a little deeper into the hot seat. Draw your armpits back, your shoulders downward. Squeeze your elbows close to the sides of the head and stretch all the way up through all 10 of your fingertips. Keep your eyes locked on your one solid point and breathe slowly and deeply again. Use an inhale to straighten your legs. Forward fold with your exhale. Take your hands to the mat. Lift to your fingertips with your next inhale. Hop to the high push-up. Lower to your belly with an exhale. Place the tops of your feet on the floor. Lift your chest upward off the mat. Look straight off the ground. Lift your hands off of the floor and squeeze your shoulders back. And to transition, plant your hands on the ground, curl your toes under behind you. Lift your hips upward and press all the way back to the downward facing dog. This time stretch symmetrically. Press all the way out through both of your hands. Stretch from your hips all the way down to your heels. And let your heels move just a little bit closer to the mat. Nobody really cares if your heels touch the floor, so just stretch them downward till you feel stretchiness across the back lower portion of your legs, your calves. Lock your eyes on your one single point and breathe deeply all over again. Now the next one's going to burn a little bit, so make sure you breathe deeply. Take a look forward. Hop to your thumbs with an inhale. Once you've landed, lift to your fingertips and lengthen your legs. And then squiggle your feet apart about hip distance wide. Fold forward with your next exhale. And bend your knees a lot and sweep both arms upward with an inhale. For the first variation, keep your eyes locked on one single spot on the floor. Pull your belly muscles all the way up and in. And relax all of your muscles around the bones. Try to feel the feeling of your skeleton supporting the pose. Now if you want to step it up a notch, lift to your tiptoes for the jackhammer pose. As you rise up, the legs will start to chatter a little bit. The balance will be tested. Keep your eyes locked on your one single point and breathe as slow as you possibly can. A couple more rounds of breath to burn off some of the calories from double tall lattes and other such things. Heels to the floor, a forward fold with your exhale. Lift to your fingers on an inhale. Hop back through chaturanga with an exhale and lower to your belly. Place the tops of the feet on the floor. Lift your chest with an inhale. Take your hands all the way off the mat. Plant your hands on the ground. Curl your toes under behind you. And press to the downward facing dog. Now this time press outward through your hands, downward through your heels. Once you find a point where you're stretching really well, relax all your body's muscles around the bones and be as still as you possibly can. And then one more pose for strength. Bend your knees, hop your feet apart about 5 feet wide. Now, once you've done that, bend your knees substantially and turn your toes outward about 25 degrees. Round your spine, let the top of your head hang near the ground, and crisscross your arms underneath your chest to get your arms out of the way. Stand up with an inhale, straighten your legs and reach your arms to the roof. Then bend your legs with an exhale. Crisscross your arms and let your head hang near the earth. Stand up with another inhale. Straight legs, arms reach to the sky. Bend your legs, crisscross your arms with an exhale. 3 more times. Inhale to the top. Bend a little deeper with your next exhale. Inhale upward. And then down you go with your exhale. Inhale all the way up to the top. Bend with your exhale. This time, keep your legs bent and sweep your arms up to the ceiling with an inhale. I just want you to feel like you're sitting in a saddle. Curl your tailbone up a little tiny bit, and then drop a little bit deeper into the seats. Suck your belly muscles all the way upward and inward. Lock your eyes on your one single point, and focus on your really slow breathing. Every so often, when your mind wanders off, bring it all the way back to the burning in your legs again. Then to bend your side body, place your right arm on your upper thigh. Reach your left arm to the ceiling, all the way overhead to the side. And just like a rainbow, tilt your whole torso to the right-hand side. Bend all the flesh and tissue of the left side waist. Reach out to your fingertips and look straight down at your right big toe. Now to shift to the other side, take an inhale to come up. Place your left hand on your left leg. Reach your right arm all the way over the ear to the side. Actually feel your left ribs pressing up into the center line. Stretch all the way out through your right fingertips and literally pry open the space between your right ribs. Look straight down at your left big toe as you stretch. Now that side bend helps you twist, so take an inhale to come up. Place your right hand on the floor right under your chest. Straighten your legs and turn your toes toward your nose. Lift way up to your fingertips. Use your left hand to grab your right rib cage, and physically use your hand to spin your torso open to the left. Reach your left arm straight to the ceiling and look down at the floor. If you want to deepen, reach your left arm all the way around your back. If you can reach, grab a hold of your inner thigh. If not, use grab a handful of your pants. Pull your belly muscles inward and upward. Twist with every exhale you take. Once you find a final edge where you're getting enough twist, just pause there for today. Place your left hand on the ground to repeat on the other side. Use your right hand to grab all the flesh and tissue of your left chest. Spiral and spin your chest open to the right side. And reach your right arm straight upward in the air. Now, if you want to reach behind your back, do so. Try to grab a handful of your clothes or your inner thigh muscles again. Now use that bind that you've created to squeeze your right shoulder back for more stretch in your right upper chest. Look straight at the ground, twist until it feels good, and then just focus on the spaces that are stretching for now. Place both your hands down on the floor near the front of your mat. Lift all the way up to your fingertips with an inhale. Plant your hands. Hop back to the high push-up. Now if you want to modify, lower to your belly. Otherwise, lower 2/3 of the way. Then sweep to either the low cobra, chest lifted, or the up dog with your knees lifted too. Downward facing dog with your next exhale. Lift your armpits away from the floor, which kind of makes your armpits feel hollow. Slide your shoulder blades away from the ears toward your belly, and then stretch through your fingertips. Hug your leg muscles tightly against the bone. Press your heels just a little bit closer to the floor. Then roll your tail under and stretch to the top of the head till the spine feels as long as it can possibly get. Lift to your tiptoes from there. Elevate your right leg all the way up in the air. Then step your right foot forward to your right thumb and turn your left heel all the way down to the floor. Extended side angle pose. Stack your right arm on your upper leg. Reach your left arm over the ear to the front. Now roll your tail under, tuck your 2 front ribs downward, then rotate your chest open to your left and look straight up at the roof. Press down through your left heel a little bit. Reach strongly through your left fingertips till you get a huge side body opening stretch. Use an inhale to spiral up to warrior 2 position. Extend outward and forward. Plant your hands on the floor. Step back and lower to the belly or down 2/3 of the way. Up dog or low cobra. Downward facing dog with your exhale. Lift to your tiptoes. Elevate your left leg to the ceiling. Step your left foot forward to your left thumb and turn your right heel all the way down to the ground. Now for support, stack your left arm on your upper leg. Reach your right arm all the way over the ear to the front. Pull your belly muscles in and rotate your chest to your right side this time around. Ground your right foot into the floor, stretch all the way out through your fingertips. Create a long line of energy from your ankle all the way out through the fingertips themselves. Use an inhale to spiral and spin up to warrior 2. Elongate out and forward. Plant your hands and step back. High push up to low. Upward dog on your inhale. And the downward facing dog with your exhale. Relax your muscles around the bones. Let your biceps frame your ears like a set of picture frames. And breathe slowly and deeply while you're there. Now to stretch the backs of your legs, your hamstrings. Lift to your tiptoes. Elevate your right leg all the way up to the ceiling. Step your right foot forward to your right thumb. Straighten your leg initially, and then turn your back heel down to the ground. Now if it's hard to keep the leg straight with your fingers on the floor, walk your hands all the way up your shin. Otherwise, feel free to keep your fingers anchored to the ground. Roll your left hip around and forward so your hips square at the front of the mat. Roll your tail under, lengthen to the top of your head. Then if you want more stretch, bend your elbows and forward fold a little deeper over your front leg there. Curl your chin to your chest, and if you're able to, place your forehead on your kneecap or your shin. Bend your front leg. Now walk your hands forward about a foot and turn your fingertips sideways. Your hands could also rest on yoga blocks. Step forward onto your right leg. Straighten it out completely. And then rotate your hip and your chest open to the wall at your left. With your right fingertips grounded to the floor, use your left hand to grab your right chest. Spin your heart open to the side of the room and gazing straight out at the floor, reach your left arm straight up to the ceiling overhead. Tone your outer thigh by lifting your left leg as high as you possibly can. Place both hands on the floor and then take the low rider eagle pose. Swing your left leg behind the right. Bend your knees slightly, slide the knee down to the ankle, and sit down on top of the heel. If that's difficult, you can always substitute with a lunging pose instead. Cross your left arm under the right. Wrap your arms around one another. Lift your elbows up to collarbone height. Press both hands outward and away from your face. Look to the right a little bit, then stare down at the floor, and keep your eyes locked on your single point to stabilize your balance. Now stand up, lean forward a little bit. Use an inhale to rise upward. Extend your arms to the roof, and draw your hands to your heart with your exhale. Second side, sweep your arms upward with an inhale. Forward fold with your exhale. Lift to your fingertips on an inhale. Hop to the high push up. Either modify by lowering to your belly or lower 2/3. Up dog or the low cobra. Downward facing dog with your exhale. Rise to your tiptoes. Lift your left leg all the way up in the air. Step your left foot forward to your left thumb. Straighten the front leg completely, and once you've done so, turn your back heel down to the floor. Now, if it's really hard to lengthen your leg while keeping the back straight, take your hands to your shin bone, lengthen outward like that. Otherwise, place both of your hands down on the floor on either side of your foot. Roll your right hip around and forward so your hips are square. Feel free to stay there lengthening your spine, or if you want more stretch, fold gently forward over your leg. Curl the chin slightly downward to the chest, and if possible, let your forehead rest on your kneecap or your shin. Focus on really deep, long exhales while you're there. For the half moon pose, lift to your fingertips and bend your front leg. Walk your hands forward a foot or so with your fingers facing out. Step all the way onto your left leg and straighten it. If this is difficult, place your hands on yoga blocks. Grab a hold of your left chest with your right hand and physically spin the chest open to the side of the mat. Looking straight down at the floor, reach your right arm straight upward in the air. Pull the belly muscles inward and upward. Elevate your right foot way up to the ceiling to tone your outer hip and your thigh. And take the low rider eagle second side. Place your hands on the floor. Swing the right leg behind the left. If you need to modify, take your knee down in a lunging posture. Now, if you can though, slide your knee down the back of the leg. Keep your toes curled under so you're physically sitting on top of the heel. Then cross the left arm under the right. Wrap your forearms around one another. Lift your elbows a touch, press your hands away from the head. Then look to the left and straight down at the ground. When your mind or your eyes wander to something else, guide it back to that point again. Use an inhale to sweep all the way up to the top. And join your hands at your heart with an exhale. Now, so far we've worked primarily on the lower body and we're not too toned on the top, so we'll use one more postures to balance that out. Take an inhale to sweep your arms to the ceiling. Then forward fold with your exhale. Lift to your fingertips. Bend your knees substantially and squat all the way down on your heels. To set up for the crow pose, slide your knees apart, then walk your hands forward toward the front of the room. Now, as you do this, kind of walk your hands forward, sway your legs side to side. Let your belly sink down between your thighs. Once you've gotten there, squeeze your thighs tightly against the sides of the body. And draw your arms back and point your elbows out to the sides like the points of a diamond. Plant your hands on the floor with your fingertips facing forward. Now initially, lift your bum up a little tiny bit and put a little bit of pressure in your hands. If that's enough of a challenge, feel free to stay there. Otherwise, do the baby crow posture by lifting one foot into the ceiling, upward into the air. Now, if you're modifying, you can switch feet and lift the other one up. Otherwise, take the full extravaganza by lifting both of your feet all the way off of the ground. Lift your chin and look forward just a little bit, which will prevent you from tipping over on your head. If you want to take your feet down to hop back, do so. Otherwise, lift your hips, hop to the low push up, lower all the way down to your belly, and place the tops of your feet on the floor. Low cobra position, lift your chest in your hands. Plant your hands near your ribs, curl your toes under behind you, and press all the way back to the downward facing dog. One more time, pedal your legs in position while twisting your torso side to side. Use those simple motions to loosen up your legs as well as your spine. Come all the way back through center and press both your heels closer to the floor. Then look forward at your hands and either kneel to sit or hop to a seated position on the floor instead. Place your right hand on top of left, palms face up. Let your eyes close, and for the next few moments, bring all of your focus to your breath. Join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Bring to mind the person you dedicated your practice to. And imagine you could send any positive energy from this practice to them for their benefit. Send it in a beautiful streamer of light in your imagination. And imagine as that light touches the person's heart, that they could receive healing or anything they need to be peaceful and happy. When you're ready, open your eyes. So for best effect, practice this sequence 3 times per week, and no doubt about it, you'll get some transformation very soon. Happy practice.